Pretty good actually. Life is awesome. I'm even working on a third album already.
Third album?
Yeah.
Boy, you move kind of fast.
Yeah, I'm trying.
And when you walked up in here, you was like, wow, this looked like my room. I can't believe I just stepped into my room right now.
Yeah, I got a bunch of condenser mics running everywhere, cables, so.
So you practice in your room?
Everywhere I can. My room, the studio, multiple studios. When I'm off stage, on stage, wherever I can.
Now, without waking up the neighbors, how do you manage to get that done?
Well, some of my practice amps, for example, have headphone inputs.
Mm-hmm.
I have tube amps for performances and all that, but when you got neighbors, and sometimes you want to have something that can suppress that sound. So when you have like headphones on and multiple methods can work, even with a audio interface, when you plug it up straight to the computer and you have amps already in the software, it helps things sometimes.
You have to like break it down in the lamest terms for people like myself, because I don't know too much about technical stuff. I do have this big mixer in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to it, so my muscles is like, okay, I know what to do. But in lamest terms, you have a compressor at home. Mm-hmm. Well, you have the foam around your room.
Yeah, I have some of that, yeah.
To keep the music down. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of it.
A little bit of it, right? So you stay in a house or an apartment?
A house.
Oh,
so, yeah.
No wonder. Okay, now I see. Because in an apartment, they're going to be like, So
I've jammed in apartments before.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, some of my friends' apartments, some of my other bandmates from our other times, we had to work with what we had, so.
Yeah. Right. So how many bands have you played with so far?
So far, I've officially had 3 bands. My first band was Creating Forever, and I remember starting that band. It was so fun to work with the guys. I worked with Chris C. and Wyatt Waldell and Jeremy Medley. These guys were so awesome to work with. We went to House of Blues. It was our first gig. It was so invigorating. So. And then my second band was Stardust. And it was just a little garage band we kind of came up with, with a friend who was a, friend of my drummers. And then the third band was The Graduates, which was a little spin-off from what we had at Create Forever. And my lead guitarist and I came together and said, let's try to do this one more time. And so the music wasn't coming out that well, and, we kind of gave up once again. But, I kind of figured I'm not going to let this just stay the way it is. I want to get this to take off. So what I did was I decided, I'll just go solo for a bit and see what I can do. And my last show, actually, I ran into an old high school friend of mine. He was a drummer, a guitarist from a band called Reactor in Joliet. And he worked at the venue that I was going to perform at, called The Forge. And it was so awesome working with him and all that. I was like, man, you're such a musical genius. You're awesome. He had drums in his room. He had 3 half stacks. I'm sure his neighbors probably actually hate him more than they don't like me.
So you was in a band called Stardust.
Yeah.
Like the term of that. So you play drums and you play the guitar.
I play drums, guitar, bass, piano, vocals as singer, and I started on violin.
So you started with one instrument. Is it all the same? If I want to go to an acoustic guitar, if I was a pianist first, is it all the same? it's not going to be an issue. It's just working with it's just different form, different setup. Like, evidently, a keyboard, or a piano is with, heads, but they're actually quite the same scientifically because both are played with strings. The hammer heads with the piano is what makes the sound when it hits the strings. So it should be like the same thing, just instead of working with a keyboard, work with a fretboard. I feel like you're a little more limited when you have a guitar, but when you have a keyboard, you have more endless possibilities because it's easier to work that way. I recommend doing that because when you are learning triads, chords, or writing music, it's actually better to learn on a keyboard because you're more free. You have 2 hands to work all across all the keys. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's very interesting. As a band, I want to say an artist, because that's what you are. You play many different instruments and everything of that nature. Now, how is it that you focus on one thing, like, you know, music? Do you just focus on alternative rock, or do you study different other sounds?
Well,
like
well, I mean, piano-wise, like, as, you know, like, on stage as a main artist, yeah, alternative rock is the kind of like the, you know, main source, but it's always good to stretch out. I mean, I've played with a lot of different artists who have, not just alternative rock, but just I've performed with, you know, some metalheads back in the day, and, you know, even some guys who like jazz or like blues. I mean, I like a lot of different types of music. Even recently I've been into, you know, a little bit hip hop, you know, Logic, and even going back, like, you know, Jay-Z, and, you know, even further, you know.
Right. So you don't limit yourself just to rock.
Yeah, you can play rock beats on a Logic song on drums. I've seen it done. It's amazing.
But I'm just saying, like, you don't listen to just rock. You study everything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So you say you just got done doing an album. Mm-hmm. Now, New Order, is that on your latest album? That's
it's the single for my my second album, which is called Skylines with Stories to Tell. It's on iTunes now. It's really, I do like this album. It's me actually just really finding my feet in music and where I should be in the genre.
Oh, so let me ask you this. You're just playing the drums on this, or are you playing the guitar and the drums?
I played everything. I played drums. I used my friend's drum kit. I used my studio's drum kit. You know, Music Garage, Fort Knox up in Evanston, wherever I can find the resources. Mm-hmm. And then for bass, now I haven't had a bass guitar for a while. So what I do here is, like, I use my guitar, my Fender Strat, and I would like to plug it up to the interface, and I would put up a what's it called? Like, it was like a pitch, you know, effect, and what would happen is you tune it down an octave lower, and so when you put the full effect on there, what happens is it turns into a bass, because a bass guitar is nothing more than just an octave lower than the guitar to create that low end, and the strings are way thicker. That's all it is.
Well, we're going to listen to New Order. You know, we're going to vibe out to these strings that you're talking about, and you're referring to, and I just can't wait to hear it. So can you introduce this to us right now?
Sure. So in New Order is a song that I kind of thought about, where it, like, you know how the way the term is for a skyline to tell stories, like with stories to tell, it's an album that really tells, it's supposed to tell a story, and obviously like any song, but I've had a lot of stories behind, you know, this city. So I took a picture of the city from the 50th floor of the Claire downtown, and I wanted to just capture what you think in your mind when you think of a big city that actually has all these stories within it that you want to tell, that nobody else knows, but they should know because they can learn from it.
All right, let's go. Mm-hmm. New Order right here on WCSU. Moving on to that.
WCSU, Chicago, moving on the map. WCSU, home of Chicago's rising stars.
If I could sing your melody to outplay the darkness in the sky, not knowing why I wonder if your heart can play the rhythm to my 6-string soul, the story to my 12-string song. But I'm just miles away from who I made. Whoa, I'm searching for a heart that won't break mine. I'm walking these streets, bound to lose patience with these city lights, keeping me company. I didn't know my guitar could cry tears on the floor. And now I'm miles away from who I wanna be. Driving down this lonely road, I wanna be your melody, your everything, where every note is new, but I'm miles away from who I need. Whoa, I'm searching for a heart that won't break mine. I'm walking these streets, bound to lose patience with these city lights, keeping me company. But if I could be your man, would you be the one? I could be your world, would you be my escape? If I could sing your melody to outplay the sleepless nights, I wonder if my heart can play the rhythm to my 12-string dream. You are my melody, and I play to your heartbeat. I'm searching for a heart that won't break me, and it won't break mine, and it won't break you and I.
See, I had to do it one time, you know. In live performance by Jay Moore. That's all you get. That's all you get right there. You ain't tell me you sing songs, man. Like, you never told me that. You have a beautiful voice.
Oh, thanks. I'm flattered.
How great is that? Wow.
Yeah. It's a good feeling to learn how to sing, and especially when you really want to just learn by just singing in your room or in the bathroom, the shower, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And then singing in front of a live audience, that's a fun feeling, especially when you can, you know, interact with the audience, and just that same feeling you get from singing and playing guitar in front of them is the feeling they're having as well, listening to you and interacting with you.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
No problem.
Really had a great time with you.
Likewise.
Any shout outs you want to give?
Oh yeah. So shout out to my shout out to my guy Carlos Santini for playing drums on my last show, helping to make it a success. Shout out to all my friends I told specifically to listen. I hope they're listening, but my friend Nina Kay and my friend Daniela Jackson. Yeah, and as well as just a lot of people. Maxwell Montagano from he did the filming for all my videos. Couldn't have done it without all those people.
Well, stay consistent, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, you know, you got work and everything, you still find time to do what you love.
That's what happens, yeah. When you love it, you will find time to do it.
Right, exactly. Don't give up.
That's it.
Well, any more songs we can get from you? Where can we find those songs at?
Sure. So you can find my songs at Joseph Moore Official on YouTube. My latest show, you can find it. Look up Joseph Moore Live at The Forge. If you want to see my album, my first album as well would be JSM TV, the original soundtrack. Also available on iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, multiple places. You'll see it. And then hopefully you guys will enjoy those songs. My third album, Challenger, will be coming out not too soon. Still work to be done on it. I mean, great things take time. So it'll be out sometime before the year ends.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Stay tuned for more. Don't go nowhere.